Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure to be greeting you and always bring this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. That's the reason why I want to speak to you concerning the proof that Moses didn't write the 5 books of the Bible, or the very first 5 books of the Bible. And I'm going to provide from the Bible proof that this was not so. And I would also explain to you what Moses really means and how to interpret the story of Moses psychologically and put an end to ignorance whereby you've been believing that the Bible is literal and that the Bible is secular history. So without any further ado, I want to go into the Bible and read for you from Deuteronomy chapter 34. And I'm just going to read verses 6 and 7 for you. And it says here, and he buried him. Speaking of Moses, let me read from verses 5. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. But no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. I will explain that for you, okay, as we go on. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. Okay? Now, before I go any further, I want to let you know the basis of what I teach, okay? I teach that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history. For the Bible is written symbolically, and it has no reference to anyone who existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that would have taken place on earth thousands of years ago. From the beginning to the ending of the Bible, it's all a great psychological drama, and it all have to do with the human psyche. So that's the foundation stone right there I would have laid for you. So let me build on that now. Okay, first of all, let me explain to you what Moses really means before I explain these 2 verses of scriptures. Moses means to be born or to be drawn out of the water. Now, you are the one who was surrounded by water and was laid in a basket when you were in your mother's womb. Most of the body is water. And when you are in that womb, you're in a basket. Now, before a woman can give birth, her water bag have to burst. And then she have to pass blood. Which means the Red Sea start flowing again. Because the Red Sea was stopped in the first place at the time of pregnancy. That is why when a woman gets pregnant, she stops seeing her period. And when a woman starts seeing her period, it's the blossoming that shows the sign of her being able to reproduce or produce. That's why a mother would warn her daughter when she starts in her period that she can actually get pregnant. It's a sign. Okay, so here the Bible is speaking of parables, riddles, that must be interpreted psychologically because it's your spiritual autobiography. So that's what Moses really mean to be born. Okay, and in this journey of life, as one who's been born, you will ask the universal question of life, who am I? And when the answer comes, will be, I am that I am. Which is to say, I am whatever I believe myself to be. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay? So it's teaching you all of that when you read in Exodus chapter 3. So your journey of life is from humanity to divinity. Okay? So it's showing you that there comes a time that you would discover your higher self, your true self. And when you discover your higher self and your true self, where you will bury that old self, that ego self, that self that was taught to you to believe in by the system, that no one will be able to find where you will bury that old self. Because it will be a total transformation. That way, say no man knows the burying place is a psychological drama it is teaching you. Now, that brings me to the point that Moses could not have been the one who could have written the first 5 books of the Bible if there was a literal man named Moses, but there was no literal man named Moses. Moses have to do with your birth. It's all about you. And it says Moses was 120. 1 plus 2 equal 3. A 0 represents a circle. No beginning, no ending. 3 is speaking of your perfection. When you realize that you're perfect, when you realize that you're God in flesh, you would bury, as I said before, that old man. And you will bring the 1 together. And come to that place of 1, 2, and 0. 3, 6, 9. Energy, vibration, and frequency. Those are the highest numbers. Some people call them angel numbers. But when you think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency, you would understand numerology. So when you see when you hear that you die 120, know it's at your place of perfection, the 1 and the 2. Coming to the third person, which is your higher self. You see, you dwell on a physical plane. So you have a physical self, there's a psychological self also, and there's a spiritual you. That's why you're told that the ark had 3 decks. It's you you're talking about. Physical, psychological, and spiritual. You see? And here now, it is seen in Deuteronomy 34 that Moses would have written his own obituary. You're the one who will write your own obituary. Because you are the one who would decide for yourself that it is your own thought that is creating your reality, and that you can create your reality consciously because it is your own thought that is creating your personality. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And only how we can be transformed is by the renewing of your mind. That's why you're told, be not conformed to the world and the system of the world and the teachings that they teach you, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, which means you must learn to think for yourself. So all those who believe that there was a literal man named Moses and he would have written the first 5 books of the Bible, you're dumb. And you're allowing yourself to be controlled by others because you're not thinking for yourself. How could a man write his own obituary? So you said Moses committed suicide, right? So he wrote it before and he decided when he was going to die, okay? That's what you're saying? So my brother and my sisters, when you understand the whole thing is a psychological drama, then you will understand it is telling you that when you get rid of the old man and you bury that old man, your old belief system, no one can find the old belief system. No one can make me believe, okay, that there's a man in the sky. It's foolishness. You see? No one can make me believe that there's we're living in the last days, and there's some man gonna come from the sky, or some man died 2,000 years ago on a cross for me. My body is the cross. And we all are crucifying our imagination and the cross. For without the imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. All thing was made by him. Who's that him? Your imagination, the invisible man. Everything in this world came from the invisible to the visible. Nobody could tell me otherwise. And if the Bible was literal, Christians have to walk on literal water. I turn literal water into wine and prove that the Bible is literal. It's all psychological. So my brother and my sisters, I just want to do this video to help to encourage people all around the world to wake up and to discover their higher self. To believe in yourself. Raise your standards by lifting your self-esteem. Start to love and embrace yourself. Because the self of man is God. For God is man's imagination and there is no other God. The eternal body of man is the imagination. That is God himself. And there is no other God outside of yourself. So all I'm just saying to you is to learn to believe in yourself and embrace yourself. Cherish yourself. Love yourself. And use your consciousness to create your reality consciously and prove that God in man is the creator in man, the creative power in you. That's why you believe that there's one God, you believe there's one Savior, and there's only one creative power, which is the power of imagination. So wake up, my brothers and my sisters. Okay, so with that being said, that's just a word of encouragement. I just want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me, and what I'm saying is resonating with you, makes sense to you, I would like to say to you, if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. But just before I leave you, I just want to remind you that this message I bring to you, that it is the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And truly, hadn't it been that my whole body was filled with light, and that single eye awakes within me, I wouldn't have been here bringing this message to you. For let me say this to you, that when the single eye awakes within you, we change from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye, and realize that the twinkling of an eye is an opening of an eye where you will awake from the dream of life, and you will hear the mighty rushing wind, and you will ascend like a fire being and burst your crown chakra. Yes, you will come out of your skull and become invisible. You will have that new birth, that birth from above, and then you will understand what it means to kill or that old self, or to die from your old self, or from the old world and come in to the new world, and no one will be able to discover your burial place. Catch the psychological jammer. So with that being said, my brother and my sisters, that's the reason why I always say to you, when you have this mighty experience, you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N and S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For truly the sun as in the S-U-N parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun there is no life and there is no light, and without the human imagination there isn't anything made that was made. And you're told in Psalms 84:11 that the Lord their God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And truly common sense will teach you that the sun, as in the S-U-N, has never withhold any good thing from you. For the sun is what powers all of humanity and gives all of humanity its energy. Then in Malachi chapter 4 verses 2, you're told also that the Son of Righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. And truly, when the sun has risen in me, it is bringing healing to all of humanity. That's why I'm pointing each and everyone to look inwardly and to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.